98th percentile. Quant is a 97th percentile, verbal 84th percentile, and 89th percentile on data insights. So how do you feel about this score, Sachin?
Yeah, so I think so my first attempt only, and I prepared. I took about like 2.5 months maybe. So based on the effort that I've put and the time that I've given, I think it's a good score. So I'm pretty happy with the score. Yeah.
All right. So, Sachin, just give me a little background about yourself. What have you been doing, and what kind of spurred the motivation to start on or get on with this MBA and the GMAT journey for you?
Yeah. So currently I'm a software engineer in Texas Instruments. Before that, I did my BTech in the National Institute of Technology, Karnataka. So before that, I've always been a pretty studious guy, but after coming to college, I started exploring a little more. Like started coming out of just studying and all that, and participating in events, working with different teams and all that. So that kind of started that ick in me to start venturing into some leadership roles and all that. So I took up some leadership roles in college, and from then onwards, I've always liked that aspect of leading people, working with different teams and all that. So yeah, so after that, I think I started my work during COVID time. So it was work from home and everything and all that. So yeah, I pretty much started building on that, and I've always thought of doing an MBA, but I didn't know what route I wanted to take. So whether I want to do it in India itself, go to apply to some IIMs, or whether I wanted to do it outside. Then there's another friend of mine who was also on the same journey and all that. So he and a few others, I spoke to them, and then they convinced me that you should probably try for a B school in US or Europe and all that. So that's kind of where the intention for me to write GMAT and all that started. And yeah, that's
How,
how.
how how long of an experience do you have and you're working in Bangalore?
Yeah, I'm working in Bangalore. It's been little above 4.5 years.
Yeah, so you're just on
Yeah.
an average of all the students who apply this time itself. So this is like
Correct.
the highest peak of the time where you can apply and get into
Yeah.
a college, any college, be it in India or outside.
Yeah.
But the best is what is important. So we'll come on the choices of the college that you would like to apply, probably in the later half of this of our conversation. So the first thing is, when you started with GMAT, what was your raw intent, like the raw feeling or experience in terms of which section was tough and which section seemed easier before you started, and when you got along, what flipped for you?
Yeah, so like I said, I had a friend who referred me to the top 1% this thing. So my basic thing was I didn't want to spend a lot of time putting out a plan myself and preparing step by step and all that. So I wanted someone who could give me a structured plan of how to follow and everything. So I think initially we take the diagnostic test. So when I took that, I thought the questions seemed pretty simple. But then when I saw the answers for that, and then when I saw what Sandeep sir explained in the after the like what the traps are and all that, that's when I kind of realized, oh, okay, this is not as simple as it seems. So there is some traps, there are some tricks that we need to keep in mind and before we proceed. So based on that, I think verbal was the most, a little. I thought it would be a little difficult for me to grab. I think maths, again, it's like grade, high school grade maths itself, but you would have lost touch a little bit. But I was confident that I could brush up on my mathematics and even data to some extent. So that wouldn't have been a problem. So yeah, I had a initial feeling that verbal was going to be a challenge.
Yeah,
That's
so,
what my
so we obviously have only quant and verbal in the beginning, math and English, we would say, right? So you
uh,
thought English would have been a little difficult given your background that you were engineering heavy. So,
uh,
quant would be easier. But when you started off, there's also data insights, and then there's quant, which is again 10th, your your high school level math or 8th, 9th, 10th grade math. But it's very tricky, right? And
yeah.
then with English, that is reading comprehension and critical reasoning, it expects you to be very logical reasoning and data insights. So, how did you maneuver through all these three sections? So, what was most challenging during your preparation in these three sections?
Yeah. So like I said, I basically just followed the plan exactly as it was. First I did the basic course and then the live course and then all that. So I exactly followed that plan, and I was spending a little more time on verbal itself because while I was solving, I realized okay, there are a lot of aspects to keep in mind and all that. And when I did quant, so basically what happened is initially I felt a little off because that practice was not there, but once I started doing a little bit more of quant, I got a little bit more and more confidence, and I started solving more problems. So that confidence was required for me to go through all the other sections as well. So I was like, okay, quant is something that I can rely on, and I've got a confidence there. And I thought, okay, I can carry this on to the other sections as well. And that's where I slowly started focusing on verbal as well. And I used to do like every day, let's say in the morning, I used to go through the class, let's say the basic class of the live recording class. And evening, I used to spend some time to solve some problems, especially for the sections where I found myself to be a little weak at. I think there are plenty of resources that was given to me. So I utilized all of that. So I made a small plan, as in I would do so many, let's say 10 questions from this section, 10 questions from this. So I made a small plan like that, and that's how I went with the preparation.
So overall, if you consider just the preparation phase of it, how long did it actually take? Essentially, it's like a light bulb moment during your GMAT preparation when everything started to click and you're like, yeah, I'm now ready to kind of, come closer to the mock or maybe even an exam, the duration overall.
Yeah, so basically, I started with the basic and the live recording course. I got done with it probably in like I would say 1.5 to 2 months, within 1.5 to 2 months, and immediately after that, I gave the GMAT official mock, and I got a good score. I don't recall the score exactly, but it was somewhere in the 700 range.
Right.
So that gave me confidence that okay, I think my basics, the foundation, whatever is needed, is already there. I just need to brush up with respect to like timings and some traps and all that. So and that's when I put a plan to of like about 3 weeks, I think. And 3 weeks, I just focused on mock exams, sectional tests, solving problems. Again, the same thing that I did during my course prep as well. Evenings I used to spend for solving questions from the material. I should do the same thing again. So based on the mocks or based on the tests, whichever area I thought was a little weak for me, I used to spend extra time on that section, do more questions on that section and that. So all in all, I would say it took about 2.5 months. Yeah.
So do you have like a unusual or a usual, you could say usual or unusual, study rituals or habits that help you keep on track?
Yeah. So since I was already working, and I had some other commitments also,
Right.
I wanted to get some workout in as well every day. So my basic thing was if I focus the most amount of energy in the beginning, right after I wake up. So that's when I'm the freshest. That's what I discovered. So that time, even during my JEE days, I used to do that itself. I used to study early morning. So I kind of thought that it would be better if I gave my initial, let's say, morning 2 to 3 hours complete focus on the course and all these things. So that's what I did, and that time you'll be at the highest focus and you'll be like very awake and all that. So that's what I thought I could do the course at that point. And evenings I used to do questions because even though if I'm tired or whatever, it's still questions and it's still like it keeps you going, it keeps your brain active and all that. So I thought that would make more sense, and it did work out for me that way.
Right, right. And if you were to give like a overall advice, the summary essentially, or what are the things that you wouldn't do at all, and you would not recommend someone not to go that way, and something that someone has to absolutely follow for the kind of score that you've got. So, what would you
Yeah.
suggest?
Let me start with what you shouldn't do. I would say don't extend the study plan a lot.
Yeah.
Like if you have a plan, make sure you do it within like 3 months. So that would be the best. Otherwise, once you get off track and you get distracted, then it'll go on forever. You'll be like, okay, I'll do this later. I'll do this later. Because GMAT gives you that flexibility, right? You can write the exam anytime. It's not like CAT or whatever. So you'll be like, okay, I'll push it to next one. I'll push it to next one. So I think that you should definitely not do. So you should be like, okay, I'm starting my prep today, and in the next 3 months, somewhere in that range, I should be able to write the exam, and that's what you should do. Second thing is, yeah, okay. The other thing that what you should do is again, I think if you are taking a particular course, there's a study plan, follow it religiously. Like, don't go off plan. Don't do like, okay, I'll do this later, I'll do this now, and all that. It'll be a mess. That structured plan is there for a reason, for you to stay on track and put your focus wherever required and all that. So just follow that, and yeah, you need to give some extra time for your weak sections. So
Right.
basically, if you are weak in something, you need to figure that out, and whatever material is there, make use of that material and solve some extra questions every day. That's what you need to do. What I
Right.
think.
I'm just going to share the screen again with the score report. If you could quickly tell me, so this is a score 98th percentile. So in
Yeah.
quant, how many questions do you recall? How many questions did you get wrong in each of these sections? Quant, verbal, and data insights.
Yeah, I think it shows in if I checked in the portal, I think it shows how many questions went wrong.
Ah,
Font, I think there was only one mistake.
one. Right.
yeah, I don't recall what the question was, but I think there's only one mistake. That's what I saw.
Right.
Verbal, that day was not my day, I guess. I did about maybe 8 to 9 mistakes probably.
Okay.
Uh, and data insights somewhere around 5 mistakes, I think.
But were you surprised with data insights, or you thought like you could have done better or something like that with this score?
Yeah. Data insights, I could have definitely done better, is what I believe.
Yeah, right.
For me on that day, I think verbal was a little tough only, because it was like I was like totally in like uh, it for a moment I went blank. Like all questions seemed tough. So it was not like some questions were easy, some questions were medium or something. All questions seemed tough. So verbal was a little off that day, but data, I think, yeah, definitely I could have done better. Probably I would have fallen for some one or two traps,
That.
and yeah, and also the other reason why data might have gone wrong, might have gone a little off, and I could have done better is probably because it was the last section for me.
Oh, you
So I
chose
did, yeah,
faster.
verbal in between, right? So verbal, basically what happened is during the mock exams and stuff, I used to have like 10 minutes. I used to finish the exam within like with 10 minutes remaining in the end and all that. But on that day, I like barely finished the verbal reasoning section. And that kind of threw me off for the next section. So in the data insights also, I was struggling a little bit with, time management and stuff. So that's where probably I did not pay enough attention to some of the questions, and that's where the mistakes could have happened, is what I'm thinking.
Sure, sure, sure. So coming to your application bit, have you already applied to some schools? Are you waiting for some admits? What's
Uh,
like?
Yeah, so that's kind of a different story. So basically, I want to do an MBA, that is for sure. But I'm not in a hurry right now.
Right.
So basically, I want to work a little bit more on my profile, build my profile up to, let's say, the M7 or the T10 standards. So that's what my goal is currently. But the main idea was, right now I have time, I have a little bit of time, and I have a lot of, that study, this thing was there. So I thought I'll get done with the GMAT exam as soon as possible so that I can focus on the rest of the things and then go with the applications and stuff. So
Yeah.
probably maybe in the next 2 to 3 years, I'm planning to do my applications.
Just
Yeah.
give it a thought, maybe because you have a score. I think talking to a lot of people this year can really give that nudge.
Yeah.
Because if you look at any class profile, generally you'll have people with 4 to 6 years of experience, right? So with that years of experience, and when you go to a class with the curriculum that the class has set out, like the M7 is set out to do, you will progress and prosper a lot more and grasp a lot more, and the kind of career transition, and that you're looking at will also happen.
Yeah.
In that scale, right? So you could scale a lot bigger. But yes, at least the GMAT is out of your way, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
there's no more, you have to sit and do. There's a lot of network. So I would suggest that attend all networking or information session and connect with people on LinkedIn as much as you can. Get their insights in the sense, not just what happens after an MBA, but in the class also, what is the class profile like and everything, and that will help you kind of you know take some informed decision. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So nice talking to you again, Sachin.
Yeah.
Very well. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, your insights to this and your GMAT journey. And
Yeah.
I really hope you get through whatever school that you intend to apply and get through. Keep us informed. And we're
Yeah.
extremely proud and thankful that you've chosen top 1% through this journey of yours.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for
Thank
this.
you. You have a lovely evening. Bye bye.